Hi folks, Ali here, just giving you a little update on how the Cube Litening C68X Pro is going. So it's been almost 4 months since I put my first video up on YouTube about this bike, and I just wanted to touch base with you guys who were interested in the review that I done, and just give you a bit of an idea of how it's going and show you some of the new upgrades that I've put on the bike. Not massive upgrades in the sense of upgrades, just a few different things that I've changed, added personal preference stuff, aesthetics mostly, and just as I say, touch base and sort of answer any questions that any of you might have. This is not a paid review. I'm just doing this purely because there was never anything out there when I was looking at this bike, and you know, I think I've covered the bike itself. I'm just giving you an update on, you know, where I'm at with it, whether I'm still liking it or not, and just showing you a few things that I've changed really. And we'll start with hopefully probably the most obvious one here. I added one of these absolute black oval chain rings to the bike, and I purely done that simply because I was looking to try and improve my rev speed on the bike, my efficiency on the bike. So in terms of the science of this, I'm not going to go into any great detail, and I don't claim to be an expert on it whatsoever. I've done a little bit of research on the pros and the cons of having an oval chainring, and it came down to purely trying to increase my cadence and my cycling leg speed efficiency more than trying to generate more power or reduce any sort of knee pain. I've never ever had any knee pain on the bike. I don't have any after adding this, so it was a one trick pony for me. It was to try and improve that cadence speed, and it's 100% done that. You know, I was one of these big sort of gear grinders sitting, you know, high 80s, mid 80s, and just pushing big gears rather than trying to spin out and just be a bit more efficient. And I'm now, you know, don't even realise that I'm sitting up mid 90s, high 90s, close to 100 RPM on most of my rides now. So I've definitely noticed a big difference in that, and it definitely improves my cycling efficiency and my cadence. So for that reason, I'm definitely a huge fan of this upgrade. It's probably been one of the most beneficial ones for me in terms of what else I've done with the bike. So since last video, I'm now up to about a total of 3,500 miles on this bike, and I'm just absolutely still 110% in love with this machine. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's given me no issues whatsoever. It's just been absolutely flawless. I think if some of you remember on the last video, one of the issues I was having was my saddle choice. Now, this was due to me not being able to try and get a hold of my old favourite Specialized Taupe Expert Pro saddle, and it was just purely because I couldn't get a hold of a carbon railed version. They were like hen's teeth. You could get plenty of the new ones, but I couldn't get any of the older style ones, which was my absolute favourite. But anyway, I kind of bit the bullet and started looking at other brands, and some of you might be able to see the lighting's pretty poor in here. I went for a Cell Italia SLR Kit Carbonio Flow with the cutout in the middle there, and this thing is like an absolute couch. It's so comfy. It might not look it, it's got pretty minimalist padding, it looks pretty sharp, but the flex on this is just super flexy, and that just gives you, that's just all the comfort right there. So it goes far to say is this supersedes my expectations. Comfier than my old Specialized taupe saddle, so super happy with this. And best of all, I got this for a bargain second hand on eBay for 90 quid posted. So yeah, immaculate condition, no issues with it. A little bit of rubbing going on the back here, but that's since I've had it. So yeah, absolute bargain, totally over the moon with that. The other upgrade that some of you might notice is I've had to change my bar tape. The old stuff started to wear out just on the elbow of the bar here. That was my lizard skin camel, white grey camel colour that was on there before, and I've went for some Supercaz bar tape, the velvet stuff, and yeah, so glad I've went for that rather than going back to lizard skin again. There was, don't get me wrong, lizard skin was proper comfy, but this stuff is different class, and personally think it looks better. It's the old stuff, it started to look a little bit dirty after a while. The white camel mix looked dirty already from a distance, and it was probably, in hindsight, not a great choice, but really loving this stuff. Nice little bar end cap there, bar end plug. Super easy to work with, and I just think it's a nice wee addition. I've used Supercaz stuff before. I don't know why I bothered putting the lizard skin stuff on previously, but hey, that's hindsight. So yeah, happy with that. It's a nice little upgrade addition for me. Easy to clean, super grippy in the wet. We get plenty of rain here in Scotland, and I've used this in all weathers. It's nice and comfy, and yeah, just proper happy with it. One of the other things I've had to change in this bike are the tyres, and this is the most recent change that I've made. And there's a bit of a drama behind this, so I'll try and cut a long story reasonably short. So I've done about 3,300 miles on the original Schwalbe Pro 1 tubeless easy Addix tyres, 25 mils, which came on the bike, and they were just absolutely flawless. Brilliant tyres, no punctures, no issues with the tubeless, just pure magic. And the only reason I changed was because they were starting to square off, and obviously just put over 3,000 miles on them, and it was time to change them purely for safety reasons. They were wearing down, the wear markers on them had disappeared, and there were a few small cuts and abrasions in them, so it was time for a change, just wear and tear. So I had this idea in my head that I was going to go to 28mm tyres, buy the same Schwalbe ones, the tubeless easy Addix, and stick them on, but obviously the 28 rather than the 25s. So I'd done that, and I got them from Merlin at an absolute bargain price of $34.99 each. Came in the post next day, stuck them on, no issues getting them on. They seated really well. A little bit of a mess taking the old ones off with the sealant and all the rest of it, but as far as mountain tyres goes, it was, you know, a half-hour job at the most. And brilliant. I thought, superb, let's get on it. Went out for a ride. Sod's bloody law. I'd done 3,000 miles on the old ones. I went out for my first ride on these new ones, and I slashed the back tyre. Massive cut that I found when I got home from the ride. Luckily it happened about 2 miles from the house, and the Stans race sealant that I was using was amazing. Managed to block the hole up just enough to get me home, and then I done full inspection when I got back and found this massive tear in the back tyre. And yeah, pretty disappointed to not even get a full new ride out on a brand new set of tyres, but one of those things, eh? I'd just done 3,000 and a bit miles on the old ones and only barely done 30 on the new ones. So yeah, I was disappointed to say the least, but that's life, I guess. You get a bit of luck and you don't sometimes. So anyway, I thought, well, I'll need to go and order another tyre for the rear because the front one was absolutely fine, and I wanted to stick with the 28s. So it goes back onto Merlin, out of stock. Checks the rest of the internet, out of stock. 28s are gone, nowhere to be found. So I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do? It's going to be a bit daft sticking a 25 on the back and a 28 on the front, vice versa. I know some tyres now come like that, 28 back, 25 front, but I couldn't be bothered chopping and changing. So I just sacked the whole idea of the 28mm, took it off, and I bought a pair of these Hutchinsons, which I'd never even considered before, but done some Googling and came across some tyre reviews, and these came up with pretty exceptional reviews. Unfortunately, they only come in the 25mm, which is the biggest size they do, but at least I was getting a pair matching front and back, which, you know, puts my OCD to one side and keeps it happy. And I don't regret it at all. I've only done 2 rides on these, so about 90 miles I've done so far on these tyres, but they feel great. They roll well, they're nice and light, they were a doddle to put on. As far as tyres go, they look good, and they seem super grippy. So yeah, long may that continue, them making my rides comfy and fast, and hopefully I get some happy miles out of them just as much as I did with the original Schwalbes. During that whole change process, some of you might have noticed, I've added some Supercaz oil slick tubeless valves. Again, aesthetics, just to add a bit of colour to the bike. It kind of matches the kit that I wear when I'm out. The race kit I wear for Team Andrew Allen Architecture's got a bit of pink in it, so this was just a bit of bling. There was no real reason or need for it. The Hunt's tubeless valves were absolutely fantastic, but I just thought, let's add a bit of colour to this thing. And yeah, so they went in fine, easy to use. They feel pretty nice. The caps are nice. You know, a decent solid product. A bit pricey as far as tubeless valves go, 20 quid-ish. But yeah, whatever. They look good and I'm happy with them, so that was the main thing. So yeah, we've covered the saddle, the oval chainring and the tyres. I think last but not least, I changed these jockey wheels on the rear mech here. I don't know if you can see them very well in this light, but I ordered some JRC ceramic jockey wheels. So these aren't oversized, they're the standard size, they're a straight swap out from the Ultegra ones that came on the rear mech. And again, it was more an aesthetic thing than anything else. I wanted to put a bit of colour on the bike, went for the gold to match the gold KMC chain that I've got running. So just more aesthetics more than anything else, and just adding a little bit of colour. As I say, obviously I like the stealth black of the bike. I've talked about the paintwork, I love it. So it was just a wee bit of bling here and there, no other reason than that. And obviously the chain that I was running, it needed an upgrade after a couple of thousand miles, so you know, I went for the KMC, looked at the reviews, blah blah blah, and it's nice, just nice light chain, strong, looks good, not caused me any bother whatsoever. And yeah, so overall, I mean, I've kind of rabbited on again. I'm up to nearly 15 minutes in this video now, and you're probably bored already, but it's just touching base, guys. I know I had some nice feedback from the first video. There was a lot of people interested in the bike. There wasn't there weren't very many reviews about this bike online, so that's why I done it, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's it is the best bike I've ever had. It ticks so many boxes for me. I've been training pretty hard this year, the hardest I've trained probably ever, to be honest. I'm working with a coach, so it's a fair bit of commitment, and it's been good because we've had lockdown and we've been dealing with this virus, so it's given me a good focus. There's been no racing, there's been no local chain gangs, there's been no local group rides, so it's massively helped having that focus there, and it's been good to structure that around family life as well, with our little baby girl, and walking the dog and keeping the wife happy and all the rest of it. So it has been good. So shout out to those guys at Espresso Cycle Coaching. Those guys have really been pretty helpful and accommodating as well around my schedule. So all good. Loving the bike. If anybody wants me to go into any of those upgrades or products that I've just mentioned there in any more detail, please just give me a shout and I'll happily do a much shorter video. I'm sorry for rabbiting on again, but hopefully you guys have got a bit of free time to sit down with a cup of tea or a coffee and listen to me talk some rubbish about my bike. Any questions, as usual, drop them in the comments. I'll get back to you guys as quick as I can, and I appreciate you taking the time out to listen to videos, and you know, anything that I can do to make these better for you, give me the heads up and I'll see what I can do. But I hope you're all staying safe and enjoying riding your bike. Cheers.